Hi, how are ya?
It's been a long time.
It's been a while.
We're back though. It's 2022 now,
and we're gonna actually do better because we have goals. I guess we had goals last time, which we kind of achieved, but
yeah, really, I think we went a lot further with it than we had any right to, considering that we don't have any experience doing this.
That's fair, and we had legit listeners.
Yes, we do want viewers. That's a goal for this year.
Yes, and we'll get to that point, but I do want to take a moment and thank everybody who's been asking if you're coming back, because I know that you've been listening. I was a little worried about that at first, because I was like, we're saying some kind of controversial things that people don't agree with,
and touchy.
Yeah, and so thank you, and I hope that all of you will listen to this too, and the other future ones.
Yeah, bro, and we got some interesting stuff. I think this time the titles are going to be a little more controversial than the actual content.
Don't call us out like that.
I have to.
But that's
it's
clickbait.
Content warning. No. It's not different. Clickbait is like if it's like $500 giveaway and then you click on it and it's like an unboxing video.
Oh.
Yeah, we're not tricking people. It's just we got the authentic pickle. We got boundaries and dumb bitches. You know what I mean?
That's gonna be interesting. I can't wait to get to those episodes. So we have a lot for y'all, and we hope that y'all want to listen.
Even if you don't, just put it on in the background so that we can earn some money.
Yeah, we appreciate that too, and spread around to other people to listen to in the background. We would prefer that you listen to the in-ground, but if it has to be in the back, that's fine.
That's fine. Another update, and we weren't actually able to record the episode where we talked about this, but we fucking moved.
We did. So what we initially wanted to do was we were actually going to do, that was going to be our first video with audio. We were going to show us moving, show kind of a glimpse of the apartment, because although I talk a lot, I'm a private person, and Kaylyn's private, and she doesn't talk a lot. I make up for both of us. Anyway,
yeah.
But regardless of that, I can be talkative, but I'm still very private. But we did want to be like, hey, we moved, we're making moves, and then it didn't happen. And then we were like, we'll do it for Disney, and then it didn't happen. But we moved, and we may be moving again.
I was gonna say, might be moving again soon, but then at that point we'll have more room to set up, because we also now have equipment.
Yes.
I don't know if you noticed, Kyra's a lot louder. We kept getting not criticisms. Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know what to call it, but people kept saying that Kyra was too quiet. Now that's a two-part issue. Part of the problem is that we were recording off of my phone on a tripod in my bedroom, so the microphone could only be pointed at one of us at a time.
Yeah.
The second part of that problem is that Kyra's not very loud.
No.
So
see, when I yell, I sound like a normal person.
That's a lie. I've heard her. So that's one of the benefits of living together. I have heard her in a lot more of her moods, and she yells when she's angry, and that's an actual yell. She also speaks at a normal volume when she's on the phone, or
but
when
I'm
she's
yelling on the phone.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
When you talk to Lauren, you're not actively trying to yell.
No, I'm actively trying to talk louder.
I'm gonna call you out because you didn't say that last time we had this conversation.
Because I didn't feel like arguing.
Okay. Oh, but now that we have an audience, you want to argue with me?
Yeah, I gotta stand up for myself.
Okay, that's fair. Now we're in public. Yeah, see, that's another thing that's changed. We're both in therapy. Mm-hmm. I think we did, or at least I know I was in therapy because of my whole ADHD diagnosis and whatnot. But
I got issues, so
anxiety diagnosis.
Along with other things, but
we're working on it.
I started therapy. We actually talked about it before.
I thought so, but I didn't remember clearly.
Yeah, I don't think I talked too much about me being in therapy because it was still new for me and I was still trying to get out of it.
Yeah, she argued with me about the benefits of therapy, the usefulness of it.
I argued with her parents. Didn't talk to my mom because my mom would have talked me out of it. And then I didn't tell my sister because she would have talked me out of it. But I did talk to my oldest brother, and he was just like everybody needs a little bit of therapy.
Yeah, but just a sprinkling. Just to get your personality together.
Yeah, so that was that. I got glasses that I don't really wear. It's only reading glasses. And we both have grown, you know.
I hope.
Yeah.
We've been paying bills and stuff.
Yeah.
On time.
Yeah.
Every time.
We have a roommate.
We have a roommate.
Possibly.
You gotta say it like that, because at the time we're recording, my man's hasn't been back here in going on 3 weeks.
Yeah. And has not responded to any group text messages or anything like that.
Including
TMI.
ones about his whereabouts. No, look, so let's talk about that real quick. So the first week of March, I think it was the 8th, because we're recording this at the end of March. You guys aren't gonna see this until like a week after we recorded, but the first week of March, you know, we're starting Lent, we're preparing for that, because Kyra and I like to celebrate that for more spiritual reasons, and you know, we're having a meeting about it.
Actually, it was before the 8th. It was the first or the second, because the 8th was the week that I left and he wasn't here. I went on vacation.
Okay, you're right. So yeah, so it had to have been the first, because the 28th of February I think was a Monday. So it had to have been the first, because this was a Tuesday. Either way, this was a Tuesday a couple weeks ago, and we're having a meeting about Lent starting and what we want to hold each other accountable for, and like how we're gonna go about doing this as a group. And that particular day was his day to cook, and he told us that he was going to church at 7. So the meeting starts at 5:30, because that's when Kyra gets off work. And we look up at 6:15. He hasn't cooked. He hasn't mentioned what he's gonna do, and we both know he's gotta leave soon.
And he was sitting playing on the game as well.
Yep. And that's not super problematic, because I have to be on the game all the time also. But it's just the fact that like we're actively trying to work on stuff, and he's not as engaged in it as either of us would prefer.
And the only reason that, well, one thing to say is that we did this before, because we did this last year with him included, and so we're thinking that everybody would want to do that. We're friends.
I wish you could see the facial expression. Yeah, bro, it's the friends.
So we're friends. Well, at least me and Kaylyn are friends. Well, she's my best friend. So
maybe. I'm sorry.
Okay. You've been replaced. Well, Jennifer is always my best friend. I guess I gotta find somebody else.
Hey, don't low blow me. I was joking. Oh, my feelings.
Anyway, so he is a whole nother topic at some other point, but we did this before. We did the link before. I think we actually talked about it on the podcast, because we had
on the liquid fast
yeah,
part of
liquid
things.
fast.
Yeah, we didn't talk so much about the actual Lent, because we didn't do much for that.
Yeah, but I gave up. Was it
Hot Cheetos and candy.
Yeah, I'm giving up candy now, because I restarted. But he so we're thinking everybody will be on board. We kind of talked about it briefly beforehand. Is this something that everybody would be comfortable doing? We got to have a meeting about it. We scheduled when we would have the meeting,
and I made a Google Doc with all the stuff to talk about in the meeting, so that people had a chance to look over it before we actually had the meeting.
And you had to constantly keep reminding people to look at the document. And then and I think what happened is he had a meeting at 7 at church.
That's important. That's gonna come up later.
Right. Remember that.
I was gonna say that's a secret tool that'll help us later.
Right. And so then so what happened is that we both kind of didn't remember that he was supposed to cook on that day. Now he assigned himself this day to cook, and he doesn't remember. And so then I was like, you know it's his turn to cook, right? And we're like, all right.
Oh yeah.
And so then we're sitting up there just trying to figure out what it is that he's gonna do, because it's getting closer to 7. He has to leave for church wherever that is, and time is ticking, and we still gotta have the meeting. So Kaylyn, as per her personality, she calls everybody out
politely most of the time. If I like you,
that's fair.
Yeah, I'll be nice about it. But I was like, yeah, so it's 6:15 and you're supposed to cook today, so what's happening with that? And he goes, oh yeah, I'll take care of it. And then I think at like 6:30, I text Kyra separately. I was like, bro, we might have to order food. We're gonna have to think about what we gonna get. And then I think he eventually was like, are you guys good with pizza? So then he goes out, gets it, comes back, drops it off or whatever, and that's the last time we saw him.
We fully expected that he would come back because he had asked before. He's like, okay, if I get the wings, is everybody gonna eat it? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna eat it. I like chicken.
I don't like Happy's. Yeah, I don't like Happy's wings. Them bitches are dry.
I like chicken. So, well, you know what? I am a little bit more picky than that. So I don't.
You
just
can be, but it's about specific stuff usually.
Okay, I guess that's fair. I'm glad that that's recorded.
Yeah, no, we have that on record. I'll admit that.
So, because her family likes to make fun of me about. Well, actually, my family does too.
Because you can be picky. We're not acknowledging that right now.
So, the thing is that I think his feelings got hurt throughout the meeting because we were having a meeting about the rules as far as Lent. He was upset that I wouldn't sit next to him, and he was upset with my reasoning why, because I said so, and then he made a suggestion for Lent that neither Kaylyn or I agreed with,
and the thing was, when we tried to like not pick it apart, but Kyra and I both like to thoroughly understand whatever's going on, and that means asking questions. To anybody else, that wouldn't really be that bad, because it's not like, even though Kyra and I are really similar, it's not like we immediately understand what the other person is thinking or saying. So you have to ask clarifying questions. And he had said some shit like, so today I decided I wasn't going to eat all day today, and I really only drank some juice when I was actually feeling thirsty, and I haven't had any cravings at all. And that's what he said. And I was like, and then Kyra answered first. I don't remember what you said.
So what I said was, I said in politer terms because I was in a good mood that day. But essentially what I said was, is that stupid? I was like, that doesn't, and I think I said like this, that doesn't make any sense because you're starving yourself and then you're saying, don't drink all day until it's later on. I was like, literally, that's how we almost, every one of us had a problem the last time and we almost passed out because of it.
Yeah, niggas were not properly nourished.
So we were like, so then he re-explained it, and he explained it as if how people normally eat. You wait till you're hungry. And I was like, well, that's how you do it normally. That doesn't make any sense. And I still don't understand what he meant.
And me either. So then what I said was, well, you're going to do whatever it is that you're going to do regardless. We're just trying to make sure, because, I think at least, this is what I thought he was saying it in reference to. I made a note that we should aim to consume a minimum of 12,000 calories a day while we're on our liquid fast. Because I think part of the problem is that we were not getting
12,000 or 1,200?
1,200, my bad. I did that last time too. But like, just to get the bare minimum amount of calories you need for your body to work. And if you're not comfortable forcing yourself to eat, that's fine. That's a different issue. But I am mainly concerned that everybody is staying healthy. And as far as I was able to find on like 6 different websites, even just a basic Google search, that is the bare minimum amount of calories for your body to function properly. If you don't want to do that, that's entirely up to you. And that's what I told him. And then he's acting like we both misunderstood what he said, and he's not going to clarify it. That's confusing.
But his feelings got really, really hurt. But I'm glad you brought that up, but that's not what I was talking about. When he did the thing about the letter, the personal letters to hold each other accountable. So he said that we all had these suggestions about that. Well, I didn't contribute anything, but both he and Kaylyn had suggestions about things for motivation throughout the Lent and stuff like that. And we were like, okay, check-ins, blah blah blah. And we all voiced our opinions about it. He got mad because I wouldn't make particular eye contact with him, but another story.
I was gonna say we really talk about that because there's been quite a few problems on our end dealing with this person.
Yeah, and but yeah, that part will be going on a tangent. But he had a suggestion, and it was so giving supportive letters, I think, like writing supportive letters throughout Lent, you know, when you feel it necessary. And I was just honest. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to stop anybody else from doing it. If you feel the need to, if you feel like that's what somebody needs to promote them, you know, help them get through it and all of that, then that's great. I'm personally not going to do it. I don't have the time, the energy to sit down and write, to write that, because I say a lot. I don't have a lot of time and energy to write that because I'm already doing a lot of other stuff, and me writing is kind of sacred, and so that would take up just too much energy, too much mental energy for me. I will have to sit and just think about it, find the right words. I take writing very, very seriously, so even if it's just a simple letter, I pour myself into it, and that's just too much. And I was like, I'm not trying to discourage anybody else from doing it. If you want to do it, by all means, go ahead. But I could tell from his face expression that he was just kind of upset about me saying no. I didn't tell him he couldn't do it. But then
I think she even specifically said, if you want to do that, then that's fine. I'll accept that. But I don't want to do that. That's fine. That's a boundary.
Yeah.
I, however, and I didn't want to say this because I was being really mean to him for a really long time. So I was trying to be nicer. I don't want shit from you. I don't want you to write anything to me about your feelings. He and I were dating for full context. We dated we were involved with each other from March of last year to about November. And we were, air quotes, officially dating from like July to November because he never actually, we again, this is a whole conversation topic, but he asked me,
it's juicy.
Man, so I'm sorry, but he asked me to be his girlfriend twice, and the second time I asked for a promise ring, and I didn't want anything like flashy expensive, like I think a $40 ring or something like that has my birthstone, something cute, you know what I mean? This man spent like $800 on a ring. That in itself made me uncomfortable, but then on top of that, the day he gave it to me, he argued with me about some shit that, like, it's one thing to just have disagreements with people. It's another thing for those disagreements to be based on your values. And I gave him the ring back because I was like, you know what? None of this is working. Seems like it's going to be a good idea. And he kicked me out his house at 4 a.m, and of course we had a whole big kerfuffle about that, and that was 3 days before we signed the lease, for context on how dumb my decisions are. But
I was just dumb to go along with the ride.
Look, niggas wanted to move out. I have no shame about that at all.
Oh, no. I have no shame about it at all. I'm fully acknowledging my part in it. Let me say this. I did talk to her about it and be like, hey, are you comfortable with doing this? We can still back out, blah, blah, blah. But at the time, I was in a very, very small room on a bed that was bent in because my ass is too heavy, quite literally.
And it was like a trundle bed that was lofted too. None of that was properly set up.
Yeah, and so I wanted the space, but I didn't want to not acknowledge that would be a bad idea, and I wouldn't have had a problem to wait a little bit longer for a better situation. But we agreed that it would have been okay, would have been fine, and for the most part it is just not that great. So there has just been a lot of roommate issues. But go ahead.
I don't remember what I was saying because you hijacked my conversation.
I'm joking.
No, like I was joking, but genuinely, I was joking about you hijacking it. I legit don't remember what I was talking about.
So, you don't want nothing from him.
Oh yeah, okay, thank you. Because we were fucking dating, and not even really successfully dating at that. And part of the reason that we eventually ended up breaking up was because I was finally airing some of my grievances, and he didn't want to hear that. So he was like, all right, then I'm done with you. And then immediately tried to backtrack. And I was like, no. Stand on that. Because the whole time through the main chunk of our relationship, I had told him that this is going to be a short-term thing. I don't see myself marrying you. And that's the end result of being in a relationship. I have no desire to be someone's girlfriend forever. You know what I mean? Like, that's fine. I'm not saying that that's a wrong situation, but for me, myself, the end goal for being in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship is to get married. Yeah. And I don't see myself marrying you, so this is going to be a short-term relationship. If that's not something that you're okay with, then we're going to have to work on being friends. And I told him this. And he agreed to the short-term relationship. So the whole main chunk of our relationship, we just knew that this was not going to be a longer-term thing. But, and I'm sorry for the tangent, every time we had a problem, he would be the one to bring up, yeah, and I'm just worried about the short-term relationship. I'm not worried about that. It's going to work until it doesn't. And when it doesn't, then we'll either talk about it or we'll break up. That's how my mindset was. And I know that that's maybe a little too vague and that might make me selfish or whatever. I totally acknowledge that. But I feel like I was efficiently communicating my stance on matters.
And here's my thing about it, because I was in a situation-ish thing, and you can't get mad at something that you agreed to, just like with my situation with a man, a real man. Sorry, no offense. So
not yet. We'll wait until the episode airs.
What, for offense?
Yeah. I'm gonna stop being nice
to me.
No.
No.
You
Okay,
get what I'm saying? Yeah. No, we're being
I was
polite
saying to
because this
you,
is
I
our
don't care
first
about
episode
him.
back. Oh, you don't have to be nice to me. I mean, you know, I'm getting that. Yeah.
But
Sorry.
with my situation with my guy, I agreed to certain things, and when it didn't work out the way that I particularly wanted to, I knew that I couldn't be upset with it because that's what I agreed to. So if I agreed to it and I didn't come up to the point to make any changes about the terms and conditions, then I can't be mad that you stuck to what the agreement was. And that's how I feel about their situation. Because she told me the same thing. She was like, okay, it's only going to be short term for this amount of time because I don't see, we need the apartment, blah, 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 all this and that. I mean, it didn't have anything to do with me, but that's what best friends do. So I was just like, you know, okay, as long as you're comfortable with that. She was fine with it. He unfortunately just had an issue with boundaries and respecting that in any type of forum, even with like within the relationship, from the things that she's told me, outside the relationship, in relation to his way that he would interact with me. And so boundaries.
Yeah, and we have, like I said, we have a whole episode prepared so that I can vent about my relationship struggles. Because I've learned through this, number one, that my standards were too low. Number two, that I don't even particularly like being in relationships. I just like being physically, not even sexually, but physically affectionate with people. I like forehead kisses, hugs, all that kind of stuff. And I let that impact my decision making for too long. Anyway, back to the main point. So
we're back.
Yeah. Backtrack. Okay. But yeah, so I told him I didn't say it like that to his face because I knew that was a little bit aggressive, but I don't want you to write me a letter because he's the type of person, and from my perspective, and this is just because of what I've perceived and what I've dealt with from him personally, he's the type of person to be given an inch and to try and take a mile and then be upset when I said no, you got an inch. Because I'm also not the type of person to let you take a mile and then be confused about what happened. That's not me, and that's not what's happening here. So I told him, I don't want you to write me a letter. I don't want to write you a letter. If we want to incorporate that into our halfway checkpoint or some other task, I'm fine with doing that. But just writing shit for fuck's sake, I'm not comfortable with that.
And I will say this, I didn't tell you this, Kaylyn. I got the feeling when he was saying that because he was making specific eye contact with you. I like to observe. I'm a people watcher, but I'm not creepy, I promise.
And people watching is fine as long as
I'm not creepy.
But what does that mean to be creepy? That's what I'm saying. There has to be some line in the sand.
Yeah, it's a line, but I don't know exactly what it is, but I know I haven't crossed it.
Fair enough. Okay.
So I'm an observer. I'll blame that on my Virgo instinct and being a writer. But I got the feeling that he was trying to use that as an end to try and write a letter to express his feelings and try and open the door to a relationship again. That wasn't anything for me to comment on because that's not my relationship. So I wasn't gonna say anything until now. And that's what I got from that. But then again, you shut that down. But you said, I felt that you said it very respectfully, as far as she specifically said, it's a boundary thing for me. And I feel that when somebody says it's a boundary, regardless of the reasons or not, if they say that it's a boundary, you don't need any other explanation. If it's a boundary, it's a boundary. Don't cross it.
And you also don't need to take that personally. And I understand that that's harder to do depending on how emotionally attached you are to the action that you presented or whatever.
Or to that person.
Yeah, but like if Kyra is like, hey, I don't want you to come in my room without knocking, even if I'm only doing that because I'm excited to show her something, I can't take that personally. That's a boundary that she just set. And I can be just as excited. She'll even let me, this is just an example because I don't ever do that to her anyway, but she'll let me bang on the door all crazy, like, and that's how I let her know ahead of time, hey, I'm excited, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and look, for context, I have 7 siblings, so, and most of them are brothers, so I'm used to a lot of banging and stuff like that. It's funny, it's more amusing to me than anything, but out of respect that we have for each other, like, even when I have to go and show her something, I will knock on her door before I go in,
even if that bitch is open.
I that's just how I am. I will not go in what?
Because that's polite.
Yeah. I won't go in if she doesn't say yeah. Like, her saying enter is yeah,
like acknowledging that you knocked.
And that's more than, because she's actually got on me about it. I'm like, she'll say yeah, I'm like, can I come in? You're like, I just said yeah. But but part of the thing was because of boundaries with this particular person, because he tends to forget that although me and Kaylyn are very similar, we are not the same person.
Nah, bro.
And so he would knock on my door and then just come in. I like to be naked in my room sometimes. TMI.
It's your room though, and then none of us share a room, so it's not like you're closing a door to a shared space to be naked.
Right. And sometimes I'm in there trying on other clothes because it makes me feel good. Lingerie. And so that's not for anybody else's eyes other than my man to see. Sorry, there's a cat.
She's got pneumonia.
That's another update.
Got a little bit of breathing problems. I don't want to have a whole episode about that because it would piss me the fuck off. But
yeah,
she's got breathing problems,
so she needs a little help.
But she's keeping us company, and she's so pretty.
And she's being polite. Before she would be a little bit loud.
Here, you want to listen?
We don't want to hear her snore. Okay, please stop. So Kaylyn needs help. So yeah, he had an issue with. She's still laughing. He had an issue with respect and boundaries. And again, like I said, I don't want anybody else to see me in my stuff, my clothes or naked, other than the people that I want to see me that. And so I had to actually tell him, hey, when you knock on the door, that don't mean you can just come in. Kaylyn is my sister, so there's been times where she has seen, well, she's also my photographer too, so she has helped me get
butt ass naked in professional context.
Yeah,
but like that's
she's also a massage therapist.
Consent.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
So she's seen me naked because she's had to help me get dressed for a photo shoot. She's seen me naked because I went and got a massage and I didn't know I was supposed to be under the cover. Just embarrassing myself a little bit. And then, well, that's the only time that you've ever seen me naked.
Yeah, photo shoot or massage.
Yeah, and so sometimes she'll knock on the door and then come in, but at this point, she's my sister, so, like, my little sister does that too. She just shows up and eats out of my refrigerator too, so there's that.
Because that's family shit. The thing is that, and we even had a conversation about this, not only is he not family, but y'all are not even friends, and at no point have you developed a friendship.
And he don't like me.
Because, bro, so look, so that's another thing. We weren't even really this wasn't supposed to be the topic of today's conversation, but niggas needed to air shit out, I guess. But we had, on Thanksgiving, I brought the card game We're Not Really Strangers. I found it on Twitter, and I thought it'd be good for, like, a group or whatever. And we're playing it, and one of the things that he had said to her was that he wanted to get to know her better. And, you know, like, he implied that he wanted to build a relationship with her.
I remember specifically what he said. I have a good memory for certain things sometimes, including bullshit. And so he said he does nice things for me because he wants to be my friend. The only reason I remember that is because I don't like that type of stuff. And what I mean by that is you cannot buy me.
Yeah, that feels manipulative.
That feels manipulative, ingenuine, is that
disingenuous?
Disingenuous. And I don't like that. I am a person. I am human. I am far from materialistic. I do have a lot of stuff, my books,
but that's stuff that you bought for yourself.
But it's not even. I'm not even that attached to that stuff because of things that I've gone through, to a certain extent. But what was I talking about? Oh, the thing. I don't like that. Right. I don't like that because it feels like you're trying to buy me. I don't like gifts as an apology. I don't like you buying stuff to try and be my friend. Because if I like you as a person, then I like you as a person. And that's not going to, unless you do something like, you know, really stupid, that's not going to change. Because the essence of who you are is what I'm attracted to. And so you trying to, quote unquote, do nice stuff to be my friend is not being my friend. And so that's why I remember that. I don't like that. I've never had friends that would do stuff like that, which is why, for the most part, I had good friends. And I think that's what made me a good friend. I'm not going to do stuff to try and be your friend.
Yeah.
Either we're friends
just
or we're
be
not.
A friend. You don't have to buy. Yeah.
And so that was that.
But then, not even a full month after that conversation, we have a roommate meeting to discuss how things are going to move forward now that he and I have broken up.
And ass crumbs on the toilet seat.
Booty crumbs, bro.
Ass crumbs
Jesus.
on the toilet seat.
Yeah. And so we have not even a full month later, and we're talking and we're like airing stuff out, and then he goes, and Kyra, to be perfectly honest, I don't think I what did he say? To be perfectly honest, I don't actually care for you, or something like that.
To be I don't think he said perfectly. You're giving him too much credit. To be really honest, or something like that.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I really didn't like you. And I didn't care. Honestly, I was shocked, but I didn't care. But I was curious. And so I said, just out of curiosity, why? I've never had to deal with anybody like you. You're dating my best friend.
Sir,
what do you mean? I don't understand. Like, he had no points about that, but I think it was the fact that I wouldn't kiss his ass, and he thinks that he has a certain charisma that I guess attracts women and have them falling at his feet. I am not like that. I do not like you like that.
Neither of us are like that.
And even the men that I like that, I don't do that with, and he knows that, which is why he has respect for me. So I'm not gonna kiss your ass. I don't. No, it's not part of my diet.
And later in that same conversation, he's talking about, I need to go hang out with more of my friends because, no offense, but y'all are females and I'm a man.
I'm a man.
Not a male, females. A man.
And y'all females.
And I said, okay, that's fine. In fact, I think that's a good thing. I think you should go hang out with your friends. But if hanging out with them makes you come back here and act a certain kind of way, I'm going to put you in your place.
That was too dominant.
Yeah, he was like, I think you need to be more mindful of the way you say things and blah, blah, blah. And then before I could say anything, Kyra goes in and she's like, what was wrong with what she said? And he legitimately, out of his own mouth with his own 2 words, was like, that was too dominant. Do you not know who I am?
No, here's my thing. To give a little bit of context of what was going on, because we really did get off track. But, he had been hanging out with his family and friends more often at that time, which, happens during the holidays, and that's fine.
Great.
And that's great.
That's amazing.
We were cool with everybody having their own space. I stay in my room. I pace the floor, sing very loud, and all of that. And so we were just all enjoying our own separate spaces, and he was hanging out more. That's fine. And he, as a result of that, was talking out of the side of his neck to the both of us. My example is that my sister came over to get her hair done. By the way, I'm an auntie now. Yay.
Whoop.
So my little sister had a baby. My little sister, no, she is not underage. She is not part of that statistic. She is 21 years old. So thank you. And she is a licensed EMT. Thank you very much.
Period.
So, and I'm very, 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 very proud of her and all of my siblings too. But she came over to raid my refrigerator as she usually do, and she wanted her hair done. And so I was braiding her hair in between working, and because I work from home, and he had locked himself out of the house again. Otra vez.
Otra vez.
And again, this was not the first time that he's done that, but we didn't realize that he had locked himself out because I'm watching Higglytown Heroes with my sister on Disney Plus, and at the time she was still pregnant, and we was trying to find kids shows that she would get into when she had the baby and stuff that reminded us of our childhood. And so we're doing that, watching movies, blah blah, and we had heard him in the bathroom. Now my room is attached to the bathroom, so I have my own door to it, so it's very thin. And we heard him talking and stuff like that. We could smell him. And so we didn't think, we heard a knock banging on the, or we thought it was essentially on the window, but we didn't know that's what it was from because we both paused and we're like, okay, what the hell was that? It couldn't have been him because he was just in the bathroom. Literally it wasn't even like a full minute. And so we didn't hear it again. So we was like, oh, we just hearing stuff. It's fine. It was probably some kids outside playing. So we go back to doing her hair, and then I get a text message. And the time that I get a text message, I'm also on the call for my remote work. And so then he's like, text, hey, Kyra, open the door. And I'm like, you have to wait a second. I'm on a call. His response, bro, what?
No, that's not what it was. He said, get Lauren to do it.
No. He said, bro, what? And then he said, get Lauren to do it. And so he was like, I didn't respond to it because I didn't want to get upset when he said, bro, what? Because I was like, that's just rude. So I'm talking to my sister like, this motherfucker lost his mind, blah, blah, blah. So then the next text message that he sends, I knew I shouldn't have looked at it. He says, wouldn't get Lauren to do it. You can't tell me shit about what to do with my babies. All of my siblings are my babies. All of my friends are my babies. I don't call them that because that is not weird, but it'd be awkward. But they know that, and because I've said it to them, and then I don't, just say it out loud all the time. But with my brothers and sisters, I definitely say that. I call them my babies all of the time. And I was like, and you can't tell me shit about what to do with my sister. You've lost your fucking mind. And I said that through the text message because I was pissed. There's a lot of stuff that I will ignore through the text message and stuff like that because stuff can get misconstrued, all of that. And I also don't like to feed into that because, again, I'm in therapy. I want to be better. But don't test me. And that was a line not to cross. And he learned that day. So all of that coming up, that was just one minor example of how he had been talking to us a lot of times. And what also happened is that when I went to the door to actually let him in, because I decided to walk slower because he was being rude. You can't tell me what to do about my sister, so now your dumb ass is gonna sit out there and freeze. And then I heard him talking all loud and stuff on the phone, so I walked even slower to the door. Because you shouldn't have locked your dumb ass out in the first place.
And my perspective on all of this, I'm at work. I'm not even anywhere near the building. And I was asking them about something else entirely. Kyra responded. And then the next thing out his fucking mouth was about all this. And he never answered what I was talking about.
And it was something like roommate related stuff that we had to do.
Because that's all I use the group chat for. I'm not going to use that for personal stuff unless it's funny. You know what I mean?
So, boundaries and him not respecting that. So, the only reason I went into that story is giving a little context is that no, we're both not ganging up on him or anything like that. There's been a lot of buildup of a lot of stuff that he has done. and in a relation in the way that he has interacted with both of us, that's just been rude, disrespectful, or crossing the line. And for the most part, go ahead.
I was going to say it would be completely different if we were just reacting. If we weren't the type of people to say, hey, I would prefer that you not do that. It bothers me because of X, Y, and Z. Or like, you know, and moving forward, can we just try not to do this from now on? Both of us started off using that kind of language. And then it got to a point where it's like, bro, can you not? Stop. Bitch, stop. You know what I'm saying? It just escalated in intensity because niggas don't listen.
And it really did get that bad because for the most part, I try not to be mean. That's not my first instinct with anything. And like, even when I got recently stopped at the store from a guy who wanted to keep talking, and I kept trying to walk away, and he followed me. Kaylyn actually pulled me away
because
from the guy.
I don't mind being mean. I have absolutely no problem shutting shit down that I don't want to be a part of. Yeah, no, I'll be polite. I've learned that. I at least have enough discretion now to be polite when I do shit like that, but I'm absolutely not going to tolerate something I don't want to be a part of.
And sometimes I deal with it, and so that's my thing to work on. But for the most part, we've both been like, hey, I need you to, and I've said that, hey, I need you to respect this. This is a boundary for me. His response, if he responds, one, he may look at you like you stupid, which pisses me off, but I walk away. Or he will say, well, why? Because I just told you it's a boundary, follow it. And it's not something that I'm telling you that you need to do for you or anything like that. This is something I'm saying I don't need you to cross for me.
Yeah, this is how I want to be treated.
And so he doesn't respond well to that. So then you have to, act black on him.
And then he also doesn't communicate, because I feel like it would be a completely different thing entirely if he was at any point had said, hey, it's a lot to remember. I'm trying to get to know both of you all at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Because that's reasonable. That's a totally reasonable thing to say. I would be perfectly willing to give you more leeway for something like that. But for you to just, oh, no, I don't got to do that. You know what I mean? And the behavior around it, and then acting like you know niggas better than we know ourselves. Stop it. Please stop it.
Yeah. So this is what we have been dealing with for the past almost year, being in an apartment, which is why we say we may be moving again. But even if we do move, we won't be taking a break like we did with the podcast last time.
No, because again, part of the reason we took a break was because adjusting to all of this was incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
Kyra had never had like her own, just her room. I have never paid bills, and then on top of that, I was in a relationship that already was not doing well, and then on top of that, the two of us are now like, we have the space to explore the parts of ourselves that we maybe had to press down when living with parental figures. You know what I mean? So like, now we can be mean, we can be like a little gross. She can walk around in her lingerie. I can walk from my room to the bathroom with no clothes on. Or cooking, even just cooking in privacy and not having niggas looking over your shoulder. Yeah, there's just so many things that, bless you, my cat's sneezing, I'm sorry, bless you. But there's just so many things that came up all at once. It was just a lot to deal with all at once.
Yeah, and my therapy at that point had gotten more intense. And so in moving from her parents' house to my own space, like she said, I never had my own room. I mean, aside from, I guess, like college and stuff like that, but that's still different.
I would say that's not, yeah.
But I didn't really have my own space, but I was paying bills for a very long time. Yeah. Since I was 17. And so that part was normal and familiar to me. Having my own space and being on my own, like, legitimately, and taking care of myself was new, even after living with her and her parents for a year. Mm-hmm. I was still learning, like, you get a little glimpse of things doing for yourself, but you really get it when you're by yourself. And that was an adjustment for me. There was a lot of different things I was going through. I went through like a really brief, thank God, dark phase. And rediscovering myself, remembering things that I liked that I completely forgot about because I didn't have time, because I was doing this to take care of my family and stuff like that, which is why I said my brothers and sisters are my babies.
Those are her children, yeah.
And so, discovering what I like, and all of that, how to take care of myself, what is considered taking care of myself, not being so hard on myself for taking care of myself in a more positive manner. Like, it's not just paying the bills as taking care of yourself. And I had to learn that.
A little more selfish.
And that, self-caring.
Yeah, no, literally, I don't think there's anything wrong with being selfish as long as it doesn't hurt other people.
It's fair.
Yeah.
So that was a new thing for me, and I didn't understand that, and I'm still grasping on it to it now, because sometimes I still am hard on myself, and I'm quick to buy stuff for other people and then will second guess or
talk herself
out of doing it for myself. Even today, I bought a dress and I kind of was like, do I need to get it? Do I deserve it? Is it right? We do have these things to pay. I have this other stuff to pay. Should I do it? But if it was something for I almost picked up something and immediately bought it for my sister, and then I had to stop myself and be like, wait, I'm doing a little too much. And I felt guilty about not getting it for her, as opposed to I would feel guilty about getting something for myself. So that was my thing to learn, and that was stressful for me, and that can be stressful on roommates too. And then also, like I said, she is my best friend, so I'm venting this stuff out to her, and then also to Jennifer, who also is my saving grace with a lot of stuff. So thank you, Jennifer, for also being there for me. But I'm literally just talking to them about all this stuff, and going through my anxiety and my overthinking about everything, and this happened and I don't know what to do with that, and I'm starting to kind of rebuild a relationship with my mom and all that, and it's this is a lot.
That's a fucking lot. On top of getting to know a whole other third human being. Yeah.
And then also finding out that my sister was pregnant and that she was having a baby by somebody I don't like, but she was
somebody
having a baby
she don't like.
Right. And find out that she's pregnant and realizing her fears with it that she wasn't really expressing to me in the beginning, and then making sure that I'm being there for her. We're talking to our brother who lives in Mississippi, and he's being there as much as he can. We're sending money to each other, doing all this and that. She needs stuff, so we're making sure that we're getting it for her. Thank God that we're able to do that, because she hasn't had to buy a single thing for the baby except for formula and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Since the baby has been born, and she's a month old now. So I'm very grateful for that, but it was definitely stressful on my pocket a little bit.
So, the money.
Yeah.
Jeez, yeah.
And like I said, I didn't think about it because it's just something that I innately do. So I don't think about it when I'm doing it for other people, which causes stress for me, because then I'd be thinking about, oh shit, and I would immediately go to the stuff that I bought for me, and then be like, oh, I shouldn't have bought that, when really I didn't spend more than $100 for myself within a span of 2 months. And so that sounds worse out loud. Damn.
It's okay. See, that's the point, though. Niggas had a lot to focus on. We are learning how to take care of ourselves, how to be fully formed adults, how to learn each other, and just coping with all of that. And the podcast at that point was not a priority. And it's not like we didn't try, but
we actually did record a couple times, and it just didn't turn out right. Not only having a third person here to ear hustle, it just didn't feel right at the time, and we were definitely forcing it a lot, and we both weren't really in it. We
as
just would have been.
Could have been,
yeah. Even this conversation is a lot different from the conversation that we had before.
It's a lot easier. Yeah, niggas are ready now, and that's the biggest difference. Even though we could have sat and planned it out 6 different times before now is the time to get it done.
Yeah.
So welcome to season 3 of Kaylyn and Kyra.
Right.
Whoop whoop. I think we're unintentionally, so far we've done a season a year. We're not going to keep that up, obviously. We got some stuff planned.
We're
shake shoulders. Yeah, but unintentionally, up until this year, we've done a season a year. We started at the end of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Season 2 started January 21. and then now March 22.
Right in the middle.
Yes, right. And then not quite in the middle. We made it before June. Yay. But look, either way, point is we're back. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode so far.
It was a lot of ranting.
Yeah, but that's necessary, and I think niggas like that because it feels more genuine.
Yeah.
We don't have anything to preach about. We've got books that we're gonna read and stuff, but you'll hear that.
I mean, because we've been one of the books we're finishing up, so that's something that you're already predisposed to.
Yeah, and then that's a series now because we found out there are 2 more books.
You know what else we could do?
What?
I would possibly, if it doesn't do any copyright thing, comment on some of the animes that we've watched.
That might get copyright claim, but I'd be willing to do that. And then real quick, this is me being selfish. I didn't tell Kyra I wanted to do this. I wanted to plug Markiplier because In Space with Markiplier is coming out April 4th, and I've been a member on his channel since I heard he was making it. So in a way, by supporting his project, you'd be validating my financial decisions. So
because she aspires to be,
I really do want to be like him. He's so creative. I've never met or encountered, I wish I could meet him, but I've never encountered a creator on YouTube
she has a little crush.
I'm not going to say that. It's a deep level of respect. I don't have any role models, and I very rarely admire people because I just do not like people. But watching the content that he's created and seeing what his goals and his plans are and getting to know the inner workings of his mind is what kind of motivated me to actually do the podcast.
Of his mind.
Sorry. The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.
So we'll probably throw a little more. You're getting a little bit more of our personality because now we don't have to be cautious about what we're saying or being quiet about
somebody
what we're
might
saying.
hear us when they come back. No.
And so you don't have to worry about that. The worst you may have to worry about is hearing Missy, which is Kaylyn's cat, snore baby, or decide to be vocal at that moment, or sometimes our neighbors like to stomp in upstairs. What I will say, because it's uncomfortable for me, so I feel the need to share it with everyone else. Thank God we are not recording this in my room, because sometimes I have to hear my neighbors have sex.
Fucking ouch.
It's so awkward and disgusting, and so I just have to put my headphones in and decide at that moment I do want to actually listen to music, even if I don't feel like it, or even if I had just taken my headphones off. But that's what you get when you live in an apartment. But it's not that bad. It's more amusing because I laugh. It's more amusing than anything. But this has definitely been an experience. I will say, even through the ranting and all of that and having to deal with some roommate issues, I have had worse roommates when I was in college. And I can say that, please, Missy, she's messing with you. And then she won't get up.
That's so funny.
So, but even after all of that, this has been more of a positive. See, but then when I touched her, she didn't wake up.
I'm mommy.
Yeah, I'm just auntie. Nobody care about auntie except for my niece Winter, my little mentee.
Winter green.
And so it has been more positive than negative. And I will say that while we were complaining about the stuff that has happened, we've had more positive things happen. Like, again, like with being able to learn and all of that, having the free space to decide whenever we're going to do the recording, because we don't have to work around
other niggas' schedules and stuff.
Yeah, and then having to ask them to be quiet or anything like that. And just being free, like you can come and go as you please type of thing. And I have legitimately, I can't speak, legitimately been less stressed about everything. And for the most part, in a more happier space, even when I did go through that one down period. Like I said, it didn't last that long. And then I talked to my therapist, and then I talked to Kaylyn, and I talked to Jennifer. Literally, those are my 3 top people I have 4. Then I talked to Lauren, who's my sister, and I talked to all of them about a lot of the stuff that I go through, and that helps me relieve it, and makes it better. But I have the free will to do that. I don't have to worry about being quiet on the phone to do that.
You got space to pace in your room.
I pace the floor.
She was basically in a shoe closet at my parents' house because there's a bunch of other stuff in the room.
I managed to pace though,
in like a circle.
It was a line, but it's okay.
It's okay. Now she's got a pathway, not just a line.
I had an L shape because I would go from the desk, the 2-3 steps to the other desk, and then to the door, and then turn around.
Yeah, see, but now she's got a whole circuit she can do. She got way more space in there.
And now that our roommate hasn't been back, I sometimes pace into the living room. But I try not to do that because I did kind of run down my carpet in my room. Because I do pace quite often. It helps my mind calm down.
Yeah, it's meditative.
Yeah. And so I can think and clarify things for, like, in my mind if I'm like overthinking or having anxiety about it. And then also when it's time for me to go to sleep, it helps me wind down. Like, it tires me out. It sounds weird, but that's what I need to do.
Yeah, man, I think that's fine. That's again, one of the themes from being here. If you know who you are, you don't have to make any excuses for it at that point.
I'm not making no excuses.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, there may have been things about yourself that you want to change, but now you know what you don't want to change, so you know what to stand on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
one of them.
Yep. That's one of them.
And I'm less ashamed about it, because before I wouldn't really talk about it because it sounded or seemed weird. Now I don't care. If you don't like it, then that's on you. It has nothing to do with me. And I'm going to continue to pace the floor because it makes me happy. And so that's been that.
Yeah, I think we're getting a bit lengthy.
Oh, damn. I didn't realize it's been that long.
I know. I could kind of feel it, but only because
my eyes are getting tired.
No, I'm hungry.
I'm hungry
Nate's
too.
been sitting here looking at the box of food. But anyway, so we're getting a little bit lengthy on the runtime. So thank you guys so much for making it this far. Thank you for supporting Kaylyn and Kyra. Hopefully, hopefully you'll support us moving forward. We have a Patreon, we have a Discord, and we've got
we have a Twitter, we have an Instagram.
Twitter, and we plug those at the end of every episode. I'm just mentioning the stuff that people may not know about.
Okay.
And then we also are planning our first merch drop. We don't know when that'll actually happen, but we do have some ideas for it.
TBA.
So help us get some sponsorships, help us get more viewers so that we can connect with you guys
a little
like
bit more.
We're actually content creators.
And I'm really, really excited. Kaylyn may not like people, but I do. Okay, maybe a little bit.
You do. She's
I
friendly.
do.
Yeah, bro.
I'm friendly,
She lets strangers talk to her. I'm not gonna do that at all.
So if you come up and talk to me, I will definitely talk back to you. Just don't be weird. Yeah, just don't be weird. And then soon, you'll be able to see our faces.
Hopefully. So that's the thing. That's another thing. Real quick, I learned just from being more observant, now that that's a goal that we have, that you have to sync 2 separate recordings. So there has to be a video recording and an audio recording.
We have to get new mics.
We don't have to get new mics. I'm thinking we can just buy a new adapter piece because the mics are fine.
Okay.
Yeah, so the mics themselves are fine. I found something like this, but it won't need the screw-in part. Either way, we have plans for things. We're going to have better equipment, more equipment. And even the fact that we have equipment right now is leaps and bounds from where we ended off last year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I hope those are things to look forward to. Again, please just support us. This is something that we want to make
we want to make it into a career.
A long-term venture, yeah. So we want to have creative careers. Kyra wants to be a full-time editor. This is going to be her part-time thing. Please support us in that. I think that would be great.
And this would be more so her full-time thing because I'm just along for the ride. But
no, we're in this together.
Well, no, I'm saying
best friends forever.
No, what I meant is that like she plans on doing more YouTube stuff and all of that. You won't see me on YouTube outside of the
Kaylyn and Kyra verse
thing, and then also if she features me on her own YouTube channel, because I refuse to be left behind. No. But
That's true, though.
my thing is that I like to write, I like to edit, so that's my creative side. And then I do a little modeling here and there, sprinkle. I'm a little pretty.
Check out our Instagram.
Yes.
We might drop some modeling pics.
Well, we haven't done it.
We don't have to do anything recent. We haven't posted any of the actual modeling pictures on the Kaylyn and Kyra separate Instagram.
That's true.
Yeah.
There is someone I want to redo, though.
That's fine. We can do that, and we can talk about it.
All right.
We can make that. We've never made an episode about modeling.
Oh,
see,
that could be something that we do as a video too.
Content ideas. But yeah, this is getting awkward. I don't know how to segue to the end.
The end.
All right, but no. So,
thank you for listening.
Yes.
Honestly, and thank you for waiting so long. We are finally back.
Yes,
Actually,
for real this time.
for real.
Awkwardly not.
All right, and with that being said, Kyra is here.
Kaylyn was here,
And thanks for listening. Bye.